Are we ready?
Yes, we are, sir.
It's just a constant thing I pull
Yeah.
this way.
Jeremiah, would you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's Monday, December 16th, 2019, and on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, that represents District 2. On my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3, and I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. First on the agenda.
First item is consent agenda.
All right. I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $1,540,441.18. The highlights out of that voucher report: the largest item is our payroll, $599,162.25, followed by our payment to Corizon through the Department of Corrections for health care for the inmates, $295,032.48. Under the Sheriff, Tyler Technologies, this is the New World software for maintenance and support, $195,772. Health insurance for our employees, $117,651.55. And then finally, under building and maintenance, Fry and Associates for $47,880 for open air shelters at Collins and Shunga Glen Park. I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers. Would move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A3, consider approval of request to reclassify 2 positions due to an employee retiring. A, from Administrative Economic Development Officer to an Administrative Officer, classified range 14, and B, from Real Estate Specialist to a Real Estate Economic Development Specialist, classified range 13. And I'd like to add a C to that since I didn't put it on my memo. I need to be able to have your permission to post an Office Assistant 3 position. In case you didn't know, I'm having a retirement or an abandonment in my office. We have different terms for it, terminology for it, but I will be before the end of the year. And so with that coming and the responsibilities that will be laid upon the individual who will be assuming that role, I'm asking to reclassify the economic development portion of that position that you kindly allowed me to put on this administrative officer back in 2016, asking that you allow me to now put that on with the responsibilities for my real estate specialist, because it would blend well with that. The administrative officer position there's several administrative officers currently in the county, and that's a classified position. The real estate specialist is also classified. It's specific to my office. This is just adding another piece to that job description. It blends well in there because it's real estate related. We work together as the office, no matter what, no matter which division you're in. But this will make things. I think this will make the flow of our duties in the office. It will help that. It'll help the person who you never know who's going to be the one that actually gets the position of administrative officer. But just in case, I think this will help the flow of my office. It will be a budget neutral transition because I have the budget authority for right now, and because of the different steps, the person who's leaving has a much higher step, and it's a different range than what I'm placing the HR and I determined to put the other one at. So that being said, and of course, the office assistant 3, that person will be coming in more than likely at a step 1, because there's not a lot of people who work in the county who actually, when they have to realize they have to sit and be on TV at least once a week, that kind of shies away from the job. So I'm looking at, it will probably be an outside individual, so that will very definitely be I'll have, have sufficient budget authority for that. And spoke with Angela Davis and Michael in her office and Betty, and they concur that this whole process is they agree that this is the right thing to do. So if you say yes, I would greatly appreciate it.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
I would approve that we, or move that we approve the amended request.
Second.
Second. Motion been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you. Item B, Treasurer, number 1, consider approval of request to reclassify the motor vehicle deputy treasurer from a pay grade 15 to a pay grade 69, unclassified, a salary equal to or less than the current budgeted motor vehicle deputy treasurer's salary.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. This also is triggered by a retirement in my office, as you know. Primarily, it converts the deputy treasurer motor vehicle position from hourly to salary. This is something we've been looking at for several years. The retirement gives us the opportunity to do this. I have the concurrence of HR and audit finance. This position is funded 100% by motor vehicle funds, and I certainly have the budget for that and would anticipate that this would actually decrease the amount budgeted for that position. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Would this decrease it because of overtime from the other position, or?
Well, that, and also, obviously, the person coming in won't have a decade of experience, not likely anyway. So their position in the pay grade will change. So the combination of that, I would anticipate a considerable reduction, actually, in the amount I have budgeted.
Questions?
Move for approval. Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Next.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request for a project budget totaling $45,474.50 to repair the concrete on the Deer Creek Trail with funding from excess reserve funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeremy Myers, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. The item before you, we are looking to go out for bid to repair some work along the Deer Creek Trail in between Southeast 2nd Avenue and Southeast 6th Avenue. I got some pictures here, but there are, I think Tim Laurent mentioned last week about some manhole cover work that we're going to look to go around with this repair. So there's about 55 concrete panels that is in need of repair for that. So I'll show you some pictures here, but as you can see, our trail goes right through one of these manhole covers, and so bikers and walkers have to go around that. Right now there's some spray paint, orange high visible spray paint around those covers. So there's another one right in the middle of the trail, and then as you can see, there's some needed repair. But we'll already got it marked out around these manhole covers to either go, I think it's east or west around here. So, and then this picture was taken by one of our C-Click Fix users. So one of our community members took a picture of this, and as you can see, that's probably an iPhone 8 or iPhone 7, something like that, and how deep that concrete repair needs to be fixed. So, but I would like to say, thank you to the user that used our C-Click Fix app to report this, so then we could inspect it and see what we have to do. So with this approval, we get to go and ask for bidders to come in, hopefully give us a price on repairing this. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have that portion of the trail blocked off right now or anything?
No, there's still, you can still maneuver around that. I'm sure our trail snowplows have it marked as well too, so.
I would move that we approve this request.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item D, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of request to add second wireless data account and iPad for use in the field by a mechanic at a cost of $40.01 for one iPad, $480.12 annually, and a one-time cost for the iPad at $350 with funding from the Public Works operational budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Neaus, Director of Public Works. Most of our equipment repairs occur in the annex shop. On occasion, though, our mechanic has to go out in the field and do not real complex repairs, but enough that it takes some expertise. And in the past, what we've done is generally there's some copying that takes place beforehand. All the paperwork goes out in the field with the mechanic. The mechanic writes a lot of things down, then the mechanic comes back to the office and inputs that data into Cartograph. What we'd like to do, what we think will be more efficient, is if we have an iPad. With that iPad, we can access parts catalogs, repair catalogs, and then once parts or repairs are made to the piece of equipment, all that can be input into Cartograph on site, so when the employee comes back to the office, he or she is ready to rock and roll and do some more work. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Questions? Yes.
And I realize I'm pretty new to this, but why is such a small purchase coming before us today? I mean, it's just for an iPad. I mean,
Because I guess it's a revision to an existing contract.
okay.
Motion for approval.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, Health Department, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-467-2019 with Dr. Vlad Dimitriou for professional medical health and healthcare services for patients at the Health Department with active tuberculosis and/or tuberculosis infection from January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2020 at a cost of $3,700 per year with funding from the 2020 tax allocation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carrie Douse, Clinical Services Division Manager with the Health Department. This morning, we're asking for your approval to renew our contract with Dr. Dimitriou to provide those TB consultation services. Currently, our staff meets monthly with Dr. Dimitriou. We bring him any new cases we have. He would write orders for medication or lab work, and then our staff would then implement those orders. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
How many tuberculosis cases did we have last year?
So in 2018, I believe we had 4, and then this year we've had a very small number.
Okay, and then what does he do with those? Does he actually, the person that treats these people for this, or?
So he does write the orders for treatment. With active TB cases, our nurses actually have to observe the patient taking the medication. So we're given that medication through the state, we supply that to the patient, and then we would follow up with Dr. Dimitriou if it's, monthly lab tests that he wants to order. We would coordinate that with him. There have been occasions where he has seen some of our patients.
Okay. Questions?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-468-2019 with Gianfranco Pizzino, MD, PH, to continue serving as health officer from January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, at a cost of $55,056 annually, plus cost of licensing, malpractice insurance, and continuing education, with funding from the 2020 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. We are very fortunate in Shawnee County to have such a capable and talented health officer. Dr. Pizzino has been our health officer since 2006. I just can't imagine doing this job without him. He is valuable to us, just invaluable. When we have outbreaks, he directs our work on outbreaks, and we do have some small outbreaks here and there. They don't make the news. They're small, but yet he helps us contain them, so that's good. He prevents them from getting big. He also advises me on larger public health issues. He serves to advise you all when we have the county health rankings come out, and he talks about ways and helps us find ways to help improve the health of our community. So again, I feel we're very fortunate to have him. I think any county in the state would love to have Dr. Pizzino, and we're just very fortunate to have him here. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Move for approval.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Item E3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-469-2019 between Washburn Institute of Technology and Shawnee County to provide facilities for on-site training for nursing students to participate in activities as a part of their field and clinical learning experiences with no cost to Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, serve as the Family Health Division Manager with the Health Department. Before you today is a request to enter into a contract with the Washburn Institute of Technology. This will be a new contract. This will provide facilities for on-site training for their nursing students. They have licensed practical nursing students there. This would allow them to participate in various activities of our Health Department through their practicum experiences. And in return, what we're really hoping is that some of them will gain a better understanding of public health and also an interest in the hopes of entering the public health nursing field. The students are slated to begin with us in the fall of 2020, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Is this a new program?
The program is not new with them. This would be a new contract. We have not previously had nursing students from that particular school.
I like partnering with Washburn Tech. I think that's a great resource we have in this community. In fact, I hope we do more in different areas. I see a real trend now for kids, young people, well, not even young people, everyone wanting to get more education. It's a good alternative to college. I think for a lot of people, they don't get all the college debt, and this is certainly a good example of that. So, it's a good program. Any comments?
We definitely have a need for nursing students and nurses in our community. That's one identified area in our workforce, and if we can help fulfill that and also highlight what Shawnee County does, it's a double win. Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item F, Human Resources. Number 1, consider approval of a request to issue a request for proposals for a compensation study at an estimated cost of $80,000 with funding from the 2020 general expense.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. The last compensation study took place in 2015, and they recommended that we do one every 5 years. This would be the fifth year, and we want to make sure that our wages stay competitive so that we can hire and retain people in Shawnee County. The estimated cost is not to exceed $80,000. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Angela, when we did the study 5 years ago, the results really kind of set the groundwork for where our contract negotiations went with all the bargaining units as well as our unclassified and classified employees. I believe that it came back at 83% of our employees were under market. Do you think that we're going to see that same result 5 years later, or have we been able to keep pace with the market?
I think that we've been able to keep pace in a sense only because we have good benefits that offset wages. I think it's time, as you see, we come to you quite a bit looking to increase wages. I think it was just last week for dietitians on the whole scale. So I think that we may come in a little under, and we'd need to be prepared to deal with that. But any increases to the wages wouldn't take place until 2021.
So we shouldn't see the huge disparity like we saw 5 years ago.
I wouldn't think so.
You know, I think when you have a good economy like we have right now, it's a fast-moving stream, and all of a sudden, we're in competition with a lot of other, whether government entities or private sector, and we have to keep pace.
We do.
And, so I think it's probably needed. Any comments?
Nope.
All right, I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Angela. Next item.
Item G, Administrative Services, number 1, update on revenues and expenditures as of November 30, 2019.
Good morning. Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. I'm here with the November 30th, 2019 financial overview. I'll just remind you that this is a snapshot as of November 30th of this year. We will start with revenues. This is a graph of the total revenues through November 30th. We had revenue of $105,497,095. You can see that's compared to the budgeted amount for those same 11 months of $105,398,682. So we are over budget on the revenue side of $98,414, which is about 1/10%. So we are right on budget on this. This chart shows the different categories of revenue that we'll go through. The first category is property tax. We've received $79,040,221. That is $1,111,000 under budget, and as we discussed in prior months, that is from tax exemptions that were given for economic development. The next category is other taxes. That revenue number is $14,945,016. That is $169,000 over budget, excuse me, and that is primarily from the highway tax that came in higher than the state had estimated. Next is charges for services. We received $5,462,764. That is $634,000 under budget, and that is primarily in Parks and Recreation. Next is other revenue. We received $6,049,094. That is $1,675,000 over budget, and that is due to penalties and interest on taxes, and then also investment income that has increased. This is the pie chart that shows the different percentages. 75% of our revenue came from property taxes. Other revenue was 6%, charges for services was 5%, and then other taxes was 24%. No, 14%, I'm sorry. Next, we'll look at the expenditure side. And I'll just remind you why we look at revenues and expenditures separately. On the revenue side, we have received most of the revenue for the year. On the expenditure side, we have one more month that we have to pay out for, and December is generally a high month for expenditures. So that's why we look at these separately and really just look at how they relate to what was budgeted and the variance there. So our total expenditures through November 30th is $98,305,048 compared to what was budgeted of $99,478,326. So we are $1,174,000 under budget through November. That is 1.08%, so right at 1%. As we go through these different categories, I'll I'll show you, and we'll talk about what will be coming in some of these. Some of this budget variance will not stay till the end of the year, but that's where we are right now. This chart, as the other did, just shows you the different categories of the expenditures. The first category is law enforcement. We spent $45,929,479. That is $215,000 under budget. Now, we will have some things coming in this category that will use up the variance. I know that the sheriff has some software coming and some transfers they're going to be asking for. So this is as of the end of November, but I do not expect that to remain through the end of the year. Next category is recreation. We've had expenditures of $14,939,677. That is $17,000 under budget, so right on budget in that category. Next is Public Works. We've spent $8,751,192. That is $81,000 under budget, and that variance is from the appraiser's office and planning, because the Public Works, they are able to use any excess funds that they have for future projects. And as I've mentioned before, this does not include state or federal monies that we receive or the sales tax money. And this is public health. We've spent $8,114,211. That is right on budget. Administrative services, expenditures are $10,873,996. That is $865,000 under budget, mostly from two areas. The contingency funds that we set aside each year for items that come up. We are $550,000 under budget for that area through the 11 months. And then general expenses is under budget by $200,000 because we've had a favorable year for utilities and items like that. And then our last category is debt service. We've spent $9,695,493, and that is right on budget also. This chart just shows the different categories, and you can tell, this chart, I think, it does a good job of showing how much the expenditures are in each category relative to each other. And this is the pie chart that shows of all our expenditures, 47% goes for law enforcement. Recreation is 15%, public works 9%, public health 8%, administrative services is 11%. Debt service here is showing 10%. In September, which is when we had paid all of our debt service for the year, that was at 11%. In October, it went down, in September it was at 12%. In October, it went down to 11%. This month, it is at 10%. And by the end of the year, I expect that to be at 9%. So, do you have any questions for me?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Betty, I've been thinking quite a bit about some of our departments that may go over budget at the end of the year through no fault of the leadership or the people involved, specifically the Department of Corrections. Where the corrections budget is so dependent upon the health care issue, and we don't really know what inmates we're going to wind up with in any given year. We may have completely healthy inmates, or we may have inmates that have a higher level of health care or mental health needs. And so I've been thinking about perhaps that we might want to look at down the road in 2020 or 2021, separating out the Department of Correction into two budgets. One would be health care and one would be administration. Because our administration costs, I think, are much more predictable and easier to manage, but treating the health care more as a contingency.
And that's something this year we've had to really watch because they have had some extraordinarily high healthcare costs this year in the jail, and that's something that we have been working very closely with the jail and watching this. We do believe right now that we are going to be able to squeak by with their current budget for this year, but just barely squeak by. But I do think that is a good, one of the things we did several years ago, we did pass a resolution that if it's a year that they have low health costs, that we can set that aside in a separate fund, so then that they could use for one of those years that's really high. Well, unfortunately, we've not had a year that we've been able to transfer any money out of that area because health costs just continue to go up. But I do think that is something we might consider doing, so then we can really kind of separate those out. I know the jail has been really trying to cut costs anywhere they could the last part of this year in order to cover those health care costs.
But I do think that we should treat those as two completely separate items and two completely separate issues. One Brian has quite a bit of control over, such as the administration. The one he has absolutely no control over, which is the health care. And so it does not reflect upon Brian or his leadership if he happens to go over budget. Whereas, if it was a fixed cost or something he had control over.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Betty. Any other questions? Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Okay, this time, anybody from the public would like to make any comments? I don't know that we have any. Also, Kurt? Yes? Okay.
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. I'm pleased to announce that the work on Southeast 29th, the west half of the project, completed Saturday. We are in substantial completion. That means that work will continue on the east half. I call it half. It's approximately half. Beginning March 2nd of next year, and will continue until December 4th of next year. We may allow some ancillary, some minor work to take place over the course of the winter, but traffic will not be impacted. Second, I just want to tell you that our road crews were out at 8:30 yesterday morning and worked until 10:30. Work will continue today as the weather conditions require. And that's it. Thank you.
Good timing on the 29th Street.
Yes, it was very good timing.
Thank you, Kurt. Anyone else? Commissioner Mays?
Nope, got nothing.
Commissioner Cook?
Well, I'm sure you'll talk about going out and serving for the Red Stocking breakfast. I think all three of us were there. I think Larry Ma was trying to play the Grinch, reminding people to pay their taxes as serving them breakfast. But it was a good time by all, and very happy to participate. Also, I was glad to see that Commissioner Mays was able to read to the children at Old Prairie Town and take that opportunity.
It's a lot of fun, too.
It's a good fundraiser for the Kansas Children's Service League, and it was a fun morning. So I was there, and then that afternoon I was judging chili at Auburn, and we also had a good time. Santa Claus showed up at the gym, and the kids just completely forgot about the chili judges at that point and gravitating to him. Also attended a Pilots soccer or a hockey game this weekend, and gee, that's a fun thing to go do, and I'd encourage everybody to go support our local team there. It was just a great time. That's all I have, but if you could get a close-up of those socks up here. I don't know, that might throw off your color balance on your camera. But, what, do we have a need for executive session?
I don't, but you're welcome to if you want. He's being nice because it's, like Christmas.
Okay. There's no need for executive session, so we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
One resolution. I have one resolution.
Okay.